Hello students, myself Dr. Tanushri Chatterjee from IMS Ghaziabad, Department of Biosciences. Today I am going to brief you about the Staphylococcus aureus, which is a gram-positive bacteria. So the contents of the slide will be history, morphology, classification, culture characteristics, antigenic structure, virulence factors, mode of transmission, their pathogenesis, and last slide will be of the treatment. So basically, the Staphylococcus aureus was first observed by Robert Koch in the year 1878 in the first specimen, and later on it was followed with the cultivation of the Staphylococcus aureus by Louis Pasteur in the year 1880, and it was named by Sir Alexander Augustin in the year 1881. So the morphology, if we talk about the morphology of the Staphylococcus aureus, it is a gram-positive bacteria, and as the coccus means round shape, and it is formed, it is observed in a cluster form, that is in a grapes cluster form. So it is a gram-positive bacteria which is non-motile and non-spore forming, and it is ubiquitous in nature. It is also one of the normal microflora of human beings also. So it belongs from the family of Micrococci and the genus Micrococcus and Staphylococcus. It consists of various species like Staphylococcus aureus, Staphylococcus epidermis, Staphylococcus saprophyticus, Staphylococcus aureus. These are the various types of species which contains of Staphylococcus. But when we talk about the morphology, it is observed in Diplococci, that is the two cocci which are joined in two forms. Streptococcus, that is in a chain form or tetrad shape or sarcina shape, and Staphylococcus aureus or Staphylococcus are in a bunch shape, that is in a grape-like structure in a cluster form. Next, coming to the classification is based on three different forms, that is a pigment production, pathogenicity, coagulase production. Pigment production, on the basis of pigment production, when we are growing it on a artificial media, that is a culture media, on different media it gives different types of colors. Like if you are growing it in a nutrient media, it will give a golden color colonies. When we are growing it a blood agar, it will show the hemolysis, alpha type of hemolysis. Then in mannitol agar, it will ferment the mannitol, the present in that particular media. And like this, it is differentiated, or it is classified in three different forms on the basis of its pigment producing the color when we are culturing it on a artificial media. Then coming to the next part, that is the pathogenicity. Few of the Staphylococcus species are pathogenic and few are non-pathogenic. So pathogenic is one of the Staphylococcus aureus, and later if we are talking about the non-pathogenic bacteria, they are the Staphylococcus epidermis or Saprophyticus. These are the species which are non-pathogenic. Coagulase production. So if we are talking about the culture characteristics, what is the culture characteristics? Basically, culture characteristics are the when we are growing the bacteria in a artificial media or the culture media. So when we are growing it in a blood agar, it will show the hemolysis. What is hemolysis? Hemolysis is the hemolysis of the blood cells which are present in the blood agar media. Next, the mannitol salt agar, the second figure showing the mannitol salt agar. In this, it degrades it is causing the fermentation and utilizing the glucose or the present in that mannitol agar media. Next one is the MacConkey. In MacConkey, if it is growing and showing positive results, then it will convert into the light pink color, or it will giving to the light yellow color. So these are the different culture characteristics when it is grown on a particular culture media or a different artificial media. Next, coming to the biochemical properties. What are biochemical properties? There are a set of biochemical tests which we perform to identify a bacteria and to categorize it or identify a particular bacteria, which species it is. So confirming the bacteria, which bacteria it is, we perform several sets of biochemical tests. Initially, we start with the gram staining. If it is a Staphylococcus aureus, it will give gram-positive result, that is a purple color it will show under the microscope. Then it is a DNase positive also. Then it is a mannitol fermentation, it will show the mannitol fermentation. As well as it is, if we are growing it in a blood agar, it will show alpha hemolysis. Then it is urease positive, catalase positive, coagulase positive, and it is oxidase negative test it gives according to the biochemical properties. Next, coming to the antigenic structure. What is an antigenic structure? Bacteria is composed of cell wall and then followed with the cytoplasm. But few bacteria also forms a capsule layer which is formed outside the cell wall. It is composed of polysaccharide and followed with the slime layer. So few bacteria which are forming the capsule then slime layer, they are the virulence bacteria. What is a virulence bacteria? Those bacteria which are having the potential to causing an infection in the host cell. So capsule is composed of polysaccharide, then there is a slime layer which is a thin layer, and then there is a cell wall. Cell wall in gram-positive bacteria, the cell wall is mainly composed of peptidoglycan layer. Then there is polysaccharide, decoic acid, then is a protein A, then cytoplasmic membrane, clumping factors. So these is a structure of a Staphylococcus aureus species. Next, there is virulence factors. What are the virulence factors? Few seconds ago I already explained what are the virulence factors. There are several factors in a bacteria or in a fungi, any kind of microorganism which have the potential to cause an infection in a host cell. So what are the major factors or what are the major causes for causing an infection? They are the cell wall associated structure. In cell wall, what it is composed of? It is composed of peptidoglycan, capsule, protein A, and clumping factor, which is there. And next, coming to the next part, there are extracellular toxins. What are toxins? Toxins are some chemical substances which are released by the particular bacteria. Extracellular means which is released outside the cell. And these toxins are, what are these toxins in Staphylococcus aureus? They are the hemolysin, leukocidin, enterotoxin, TSST, hexafolidin toxin. Next, what are the next? They are the enzymes which have the potential to cause an infection in the host cell. They are the staphylokinase, DNase, phosphatase, lipase, phospholipase, hyaluronidase, serokinase, protease. These are the set of enzymes which are having the potential to cause an infection in the host cell. Next, how the pathogenesis is caused. What is pathogenesis? When a bacteria is invading the host cell, how it reacts or how it causes the infection. So initially what happens? The bacteria adhere to the cell surface, then it starts colonizing. What is colonization? Colonization is a process of multiplication of that particular bacteria. Initially it caused the epidermal infection, that is the infection which is causing on the upper layer of the surface of the host cell. Then it invades into the different cells or tissues and it causes a systematic infection. So when it invades into the deepened in the tissue or in the cell, they are known as the systemic infection. Furthermore, when it invades more, then it reaches the infection or it causes the severe kind of infection in the bone, in the blood, and causing the infection in the blood, they are known as the bacteremia or the septicemia. So how it moves on? There is adhesion. The bacteria adhered or it attaches on the cell surface. Once it enters into the cell surface, it colonizes. Then it invades into the different tissues and cells, and then it enters finally into the bone or the blood cells and causing a systemic infection. What are the different modes of transmission? What is the mode of transmission? One, how the bacteria invades or how the bacteria attacks the host cell. There are different forms. Out of this, there are majorly 4 forms how they transmit to one organism to the another organism. One, who is suffering, the person suffering from that particular region, they may transmit that particular infection, or there is airborne droplets, or there is a cross-form infection, or there is an asymptomatic carrier. What is asymptomatic carrier? Asymptomatic carrier are those persons who are suffering from the infection but they don't know about that they are suffering from the infection. They are the carrier, means the organism or the microorganism, that particular host or the pathogenic organism, they are already invaded that person, but they are not showing any kind of signs and symptoms to that particular organism, but they are having that infection. And so when they interact with other person or some other organism, they have the ability to transmit that particular organism and cause that disease. So, what type of diseases it mainly causes? It causes boils, it causes skin infection, it causes foodborne diseases, it causes bacteremia or septicemia. These are the different forms of infections which it has the causes by the Staphylococcus aureus species. So, once the person is infected, later on it is there to diagnosis of that infection, whether it is caused by Staphylococcus aureus or it is caused by some other species. For diagnosis, there are the laboratory diagnosis tests. So there are different tests, and performing these tests we have to collect different types of samples. So what kind of samples are being collected for identifying or to diagnosing the particular person, that the person is infecting from a Staphylococcus aureus or some other kind of infection. So for this we collect the spuss samples. Pus samples are being collected in which case of infections? Those who are suffering from suppurative lesions and osteomyelitis. Then sputum. Sputum is collected in case of respiratory infections. Blood samples are being collected in case of bacteremia or septicemia. Feces and vomitus is being collected in cases of food poisoning or foodborne diseases. Urine is collected in cases of urinary tract infection. Nasal and perineal swab is collected in case of suspected carriers. So these are the different specimen or different samples are being collected to perform the laboratory diagnosis. So once the sample are being collected, what type of tests are being conducted? There are two sets of tests can be conducted. One is a hematological investigation. In hematological investigation, what kind of tests are being done? The cell count, TLC count, DLC count, these are being performed. And on the other hand, bacteriological investigations are done. In bacteriological investigations, what we perform? We perform the gram staining, followed with the culture microbiological analysis. What is microbiological analysis? There is a test like culture we perform for it can be done automated form also, as well as with the manual form also. For the automation we go for the blood culture or septicemia, as it takes around 5 days for the culture to get processed. So it is being done with the Bactic 2 media, Bactic 2 instrumentation test. This is the automated form. Next we perform some gram staining, and finally we confirm the positive organism as Staphylococcus aureus by performing the set of biochemical tests which I have discussed few slides back. So these are the set of laboratory diagnosis which are being conducted. So last one, once the person is suspected or once the person is identified with that the person is suffering from Staphylococcus aureus infection. Now what is there? There is a need to treat that particular patient. For treating that particular patient, initially or the first step is to drain that particular infected area, to cleaning or proper cleaning or dressing of that particular infected area with the help of some antibiotic or antibiotic lotions, or some kind of surgery can be done. But if there is an epidermal infection or there is some deep infections, in that case we recommend the antibiotics. What set of antibiotics are being recommended in case of Staphylococcus aureus species? There can be cephalosporins, erythromycin, clindamycin. These are the set of antibiotics which are being recommended or advised by the clinicians to get cured from the Staphylococcus aureus infection. So this was just a brief overview of Staphylococcus aureus infection. In my next video, I would like to share more detail about the Staphylococcus aureus infection along with the clinical manifestations and the MRSA cons, different types of organisms which are being associated with this. So this is all about the Staphylococcus aureus. Okay, thank you so much.